The creepy porn lawyer, creepy porn lawyer, creepy porn lawyer, the creepy porn lawyer. Creepy porn lawyer is creepy porn lawyer.
Broadcasting from Charlotte, North Carolina, the Queen City, this is On the Air with Deplorable Pride. Tune in at ontheairwithdeplorablepride.org every Wednesday, a conservative LGBT talk show. We are your voice. Here's your host, Brian Talbert and Chris O'Shea.
And we're back for yet another episode of On the Air with Deplorable Pride. Today is Wednesday, September 26, 2018. I'm Chris O'Shea with Carolinas for Trump, here with Brian Talbert. Brian, what's up, man?
Not much. How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. Couldn't be better. We are coming up close on the midterm election, and of course there's a lot going on with the Supreme Court nominees, Brett Kavanaugh, and all the accusations. It's interesting and exciting times, like I guess the whole Trump presidency and even before then have been. So it's fun. How about you? What's going on in your world?
Just been watching about the Supreme Court and nomination, and just watching this three-ring circus unfold right before our eyes. Watching the Democrats make a mockery out of our system of government is disgusting.
You know, as frustrating as it is to watch all the stuff that's going on right now, at the same time, it's possibly the best gift that the Democrats could be giving us, because they're turning so many people off by the way that they're behaving and the way that they're trying to accomplish their agenda. It's turning so many people off that I think that getting a turnout for them in the midterms is going to be extremely difficult.
Yeah, but this far outreaches just this vote. I mean, we're getting into dangerous territory where no man is ever going to be safe in this country again, especially if Republicans cave and fall for the smear tactic. No man in this nation will ever be safe from accusations like this ever again.
I think you're right, and I think that from the women that we've talked to, I know in the last week or so since this all started, a lot of women are disgusted by it as well. So
overwhelmingly, women are coming out against Dr. Ford more than men. Men are actually supporting her more than the women are, which that's an encouraging sign and everything, that women are actually taking control of the wheel and, standing up and saying that this is not going to be tolerated. And I'm very proud of the women who are standing up to defend men, because it's like I said, these women, when they go into the voting booth in November, they've got to remember they are not only voting for our country, but they're voting for their husbands, their fathers, and their sons.
Exactly. And I think that when someone uses accusations like this Blasey Ford or Ballsy Ford or whatever the hell her name is, when they use these accusations just to achieve political goals, it devalues and delegitimizes actual assault victims and casts doubt on people who are actually victims. And that's not to necessarily say that this woman isn't a victim, but I think that it's very transparent why it took 36 years for her to come forward with this.
True, and we really got to understand. I mean, she gave a list of her witnesses that could corroborate her story. All of them, every single one of them have come out and said they do not recall this party. They don't recall being there. One of them even says they have no idea who Judge Kavanaugh is. And then you got the second lady, the Ramirez lady. She's come out. Her witnesses were discredited immediately. These are all just last ditch efforts by the Democrats. They've learned that they don't. It started really with Roy Moore, even though I think Roy Moore contributed to his own demise. They found out that they saw that Republicans weren't willing to go after and defend Roy Moore against the allegations that they knew were false. And that actually just emboldened the Democrats to try it again. I mean, honestly, you can't blame them for trying it again. It worked the first time.
And the Democrats are willing to use any tactic. If you read Rules for Radicals, it's just the way that they operate. And I don't know about you, but my memory, and I graduated high school in 2006, things that happened in 2006, 2007, 2008 even, so we're just going back 10 years there. The details and the memories are I think, definitely going to be hazy and
Well, yeah, for like
there
regular,
may be
like
reasons
for
that, but-
regular events, they may actually be hazy. But I think.
well, I'm thinking about car accidents and stuff when I, drove my car into a telephone pole, or spun my car. I had a Mustang that I spun around, it was being a little bit too
teenager
enthusiastic behind him. Yeah, I was a teenager in a powerful car. I mean, I was doing stupid stuff, but the memories around that, like, I guess, that would be the closest thing to a, quote unquote traumatic sort of experience. That I, from back then. The details surrounding it are very, like, in sort of in general terms, but specifics, texting or on the phone with, or whatever the situation was. And that's just going 10 years. We're going nearly 40 years. How are they going to prosecute something? How are they going to come to a conclusion about something that happened that far back when you've got no evidence, you've got no witnesses, and all you're going by is just, one word versus the other?
Isn't that the perfect storm that they would want? That if you're going to tell a lie, you've got to tell it to where there are no witnesses. You to make
but
yourself.
How is it going to stick? How can you say beyond a reasonable doubt that someone is guilty or not guilty for something that far back with that little evidence?
What Democrats have, this has been a play that they've done for a while now. It doesn't matter whether it's true. All you got to do is say it. And once you say it, you see how, just like there was absolutely no evidence to corroborate this woman's story, but so many people have believed her to the tune to where she's got 2 GoFundMes that are well over $300,000 has been raised for her right now. That's $300,000 raised for her with absolutely no evidence to prove her case. And then I mean, it's just all upside down. Now we've got people having to defend themselves. It's like a while ago, Juan Williams saying that not Juan Williams. It was Christian Gildebrand said that he's not. The burden of proof is up to Judge Kavanaugh to defend himself against these accusations. That's not how our system of government works. It is the accuser that comes and provides all the evidence against the just like they wanted Judge Kavanaugh to defend himself first, and then she goes sack it and make the accusations. How in the hell is a person supposed to defend themselves against accusations if the first person leveling the accusations goes on after him? That makes absolutely no sense. It's like a kangaroo court. It's just like upside down, backwards, and I think all they're trying to do is sow confusion in this whole process to play on like Susan Collins and Murkowski, to where they'll say that they're a woman and they've got to give the woman the benefit of the doubt. And that's just not how it works. I mean, if we allow something like that, if we allow those types of rules to take precedence, then we're all in trouble, male, female, all of us.
Well, I think you're right. The goal is not to do slow the process down, and they're hoping that they can get the confirmation hearing pushed back until after the midterm elections. And
I don't know how true this is, but I had heard a rumor that once they start the hearings and stuff, I think is there a time limit on after the hearings? Is there a time limit? Do you know that after the hearings have finished, that there has to be a vote, or the nomination is automatically withdrawn? And I was wondering, because that's something that I'd heard on a couple of sites, and that's what people were speculating that they were doing. They were trying to run out the clock, so his nomination would automatically have to be withdrawn. I don't know how true that is. Like I said, I've heard it on a couple of sites, but as far as that, I'm pretty illiterate when it comes to the rules on Senate Judiciary committees, on how they, how the Senate functions and everything. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with that or not.
No, I'm not 100%.
Someone had told me that One of the sites was saying that once the hearing, the actual hearing that they'd already done, where the senators questioned Judge Kavanaugh, from the end date of that, I was under the impression they have 1 week to vote on his confirmation, or his nomination is automatically withdrawn. And I think that kind of would make a little sense for them, trying to postpone this to take it past the week time period.
Well,
That I don't know. That's something that I would have to look into. I guarantee you, after this nomination, after this vote, I guarantee you that a lot of people in this country are going to familiarize themselves with protocol within the Senate on how they their rules, as when it comes to governing for confirmation hearings.
Well, I do know that in the last 100 years, the Senate has only rejected 3 nominations, and all 3 of them have been from Republican presidents.
From what I also understand, that these judiciary committee hearings, this is actually a new process. This is something that started in the 1960s. That before then, there was an up or down vote, and that was it. As soon as the president would nominate someone, it was an up or down vote. There was none of this judiciary hearing thing, spreading it out for a week and everything. From what I'm understanding, this, like I said, this all came about in the mid to late 60s. So this is technically not regular protocol for the U.S. Senate.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see how it pans out. I think that he will get confirmed.
I believe he will be confirmed as well.
I think it's just so transparent and so obvious what the Democrats are up to. And now we've got creepy porn lawyer who claimed to have had another victim and evidence.
Well, he supposedly had three.
He's been trolled by a 4chan shit poster, a troll. Someone who just goofing around, and it
couldn't happen to a better creepy porn lawyer.
The creepy porn lawyer.
It's just like when he was on CNN and he was talking about Stormy Daniels, and he said that he had like 4 other women that were going to be coming out to make accusations against President Trump, and that Michael Cohen had paid them off as well. And even CNN has called him out. I was watching Chris Cuomo say, you told us that you were going to be producing more tapes with more women who were coming out against Donald Trump, and you never produced that. And how are we to think that now you're saying that you have 3 women that you're going to be representing against Kavanaugh? How can we be sure that that this is not just like what you were saying with Donald Trump? And he said that he had one of these people, which I guess is the 4channel users that were trolling him, said that he had this person was going to be a witness and a victim. So he got played pretty good.
Well, like you said, it couldn't have happened to a better creepy porn lawyer.
Tucker Carlson's loving it.
That was possibly one of the funniest interviews I've seen on TV.
I loved it when he said Michael Avenatti told him, he said, you can start by stop calling her a porn star and stop calling me a creepy porn lawyer. And then at the end of the interview, he says, and thank you, creepy porn lawyer, for coming.
And during that whole interview, at the bottom of the screen, it said,
creepy porn lawyer.
Trump supporters have way more fun. The Democrats have zero sense of humor. They don't get jokes. They're so bitter and so upset, and just you can hear in their voices and the way they talk, and
desperation
and just like misery and just bitterness. And
well, they know that it's like I can say anything, and a lot of it comes down on which side you're on, but I could say anything, and it doesn't matter whether it's true or not. It's just the fact that it was said, and all it has to, is a couple of people believe in it and start spreading it. A lie will take root faster than the truth. And that's why we've got to do something we've got to start holding these people accountable like these women who make fake accusations of rape and sexual assault against men. We've got to start putting down and taking these women and men, if they make fake accusations, I don't care what sex you are, but start holding these people who make fake accusations accountable and start charging them. And that is the only way that is going to stop this right here. There is absolutely no deterrent for someone making a lie up against someone. Now, if I could say whatever I wanted to say about you, whether it was true or not, what's going to be my deterrent? Is it going to be me being hauled off to jail or to court and being sued for making a false accusation? Or is it that nothing's going to happen to me and then I just turn around and make another false accusation when the time arises that I need to? If there's no deterrent, we can't expect anything else, anything different.
And I don't think that should be limited to just sexual assault allegations, although that's certainly true. But what about these people, and you read the stories online about people who, the fake hate crimes, whether it's racially motivated or sexual orientation or whatever.
Well, I'm not a proponent. I'm not a big fan of hate crime laws. I've said it whenever they passed it for gays and said that if you attack someone for being gay, that the punishment should be double. I have always been against that, whether I'm gay or straight. Just because I'm gay, my life is not any more valuable than a straight person's life is. Murder is murder, and it should be the punishment should be the same. I don't think just because you attack someone, murder is hate. You know what I mean? Whether you kill a straight person or a gay person, there is a motivating factor of hate behind that, regardless of what category of person it is that you decided to kill.
I think that's one of the things that makes you different, and maybe that's one of the reasons why the LGBT community can't stand you, is that you want true equality. You don't want special treatment. You just want equality.
I want my life to be valued on the exact same level as every other American citizen,
as it should be.
Right.
Unfortunately, I think a lot of people in the LGBT community and other minorities, for that matter,
the whole issue with the gay people, the women movement, all that, there's a small fraction within all of these groups that hijack every one of these groups. The gay community is being hijacked by the Democrat Party, and it all comes down to the Democrat Party. Just like the women's movement, the feminists, the Democrats have hijacked that. It's like everybody's got to be a victim, and they exploit that. Just like the Democrat Party the Democrat Party will never survive unless there is some victim out there.
Well, I think that for people that fabricate these hate crimes or sexual assault or stuff, there definitely should be ramifications for doing that.
It's like the girl, I can't remember where she's from, but she was just sentenced. She made a fake accusation of rape against a guy.
Was that the one at Harvard?
That was Harvard. Okay, yeah, it was Harvard.
There was that Rolling Stone article, I think.
Yeah, she was just sentenced, I think it was last week. She was just sentenced to a year in prison.
Yeah.
Now, that's a deterrent.
Yes. What was her, mattress girl or something?
Yeah, and it's like but the sad part about that, it reminds me a lot of the Duke lacrosse scandal.
That was Columbia University, not Harvard.
Okay, it reminds me of the Duke lacrosse thing. The stripper who says she was raped by the Duke lacrosse players. Okay, it turns out it came out that she lied. She got punishment for lying. But no one looks back at those Duke lacrosse players. Their lives got ruined. And even though no one compensated them for that. These were student athletes that who knows what their career would have what would have happened with their career if they would not have been accused of this fake allegation.
Yeah.
And now their lives are basically just ruined. That's the shit that pisses me off. Stuff like that makes me so mad that one lie can actually ruin a person's career for the rest of their life. I mean, I look at it this way, like, with me coming out with deplorable pride, all the lies and the rumors and everything that came out about me when it was just all they were doing was telling lies about me to try to discredit. And normally you would have any other gay person, any other situation, you would have the gay community would have been rallying behind me. But because I was conservative, the gay community turned their back on me and fell into that, became the oppressors that we've all fought against.
Well, and this, I think, might be a good opportunity, and you can tell me if it's something that you want to briefly dive into. I know that some of the things that were used against you, for example, were Facebook posts that were taken out of context. That when you zoom in really close and you see just one post, you don't see the post before and the article.
Yeah, I'll be completely honest with you about one of the posts. It was one of the posts about Muslims. Okay, and my Facebook post said, "I will kill every last one of them on earth before they get me." Okay, that's all that's what I had said in the post. But the article that I was actually also put in with that was the imam said that they were coming in the United States and any person that did not submit would be killed. And my response was, I will kill every last one of them before they get me. Okay.
And I think that was one of the big ones that was used to try and smear you and paint you as some horrible racist.
And I was like told by several people, take that down. And I refused. And still to this day, it's still up on Facebook. I refused because I still stand by that. Any Muslim that says they're coming to the United States and they're going to kill an American citizen, if we do not submit, I personally will kill them. Simple as that.
And it's amazing how different the message is and how different it is when you take out that first part, the context of it.
I mean, they want to use what I'm. It's just like the Kavanaugh thing, It's like they want to. They don't want to look at the root. They want to look at what my reaction to that root was, and judge me by it. But how many of those gay people that judged me by that that Facebook post? How many of them judged the actual person who actually made the actual first statement? None of them. You see the gay community rally behind Muslims and Islams, the same religion and the same people that will throw them off a damn rooftop for being exactly who they are. I refuse. Don't get me started on the Muslims. I refuse.
I didn't mean to get you started on that. I
refuse to accept anybody that calls for and openly chants for my death.
I just think that it's good to put that out there for people to be aware of ways that you've been actually put in a similar sort of situation where accusations have been made, and it's things that have been said and taken out of context, or they'll manipulate.
The one thing I have always said, and you can verify this, I have said that I will stand by every single thing that has ever come out of my mouth. I will own up to my words.
And that's one of the things that I think is makes you dangerous, is that you refuse to back down. You say what you believe and you stand by your words. You refuse to give in to people who want to put thoughts or words in your mouth. So I think it's good just to clear that up, like you said, because of false accusations and things that have been made against you, and how they've attempted to maybe not on the same scale as something like what Brett Kavanaugh is going through, but in a similar sort of way. But moving on from that, tomorrow, Thursday, is the hearing where the accuser will get to face the accused.
And from what I'm hearing, she's not. From what I'm hearing from some sources, she's not predicted to show. And I think it's more. I think what that's boiling down to is that, I mean, look at her list of demands that she wanted when, and the number one list of demand that they had was she was not going to testify under oath. That was struck down by Senate Republicans. She will testify under oath. If she wants a hearing, if she wants to be heard, she will do it under oath. And, it's one thing to make a lie up about somebody, but it's another thing when you have to swear that you're telling the truth and do it under oath, because she can't, the people want to say this isn't a court, which it's not, but you can still be charged. And she's not willing to do that. That's the reason the Ramirez lady, that's the reason her story fell apart so fast. She's with it. You don't have to have anything factual to back up anything to make an accusation. But when you come in and testify before a Senate Judiciary Committee and you're under oath, you can go to prison.
And should.
And you should, yes. That's the equal branches of government. That's the legislative is just as powerful as the judicial.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. It'll be interesting, and I know that she wants to limit the media outlets that will be able to be present.
What gets me is that she says now all of a sudden she is in such fear to sit in the same room as Judge Kavanaugh. That's a crock. Of
course it is, but we knew that all along.
Yeah, but like I said, I don't look for her to show. I think, look at her attorney. Her attorney is the same one who represented Al Franken. Okay. She doesn't have a problem when people, she doesn't have a problem representing a man being accused of sexual misconduct as long as he's a liberal. But, you watch your attorney right now talking about, Dr. Ford, and, you would think all men are bad, according to her, but yet she's the same one that represented Al Franken, where there was pictures. The man's hands was on the woman's breast. There was no denying it. But she represented him, said he was a comedian, and that's we were supposed to overlook that because he was a comedian.
Well, it's politics. We know it.
Well, sexual misconduct is doesn't, you don't look in the dictionary and see sexual assault or sexual misconduct and see, well, this is the definition of it for a Democrat. This is the definition for it if it's a Republican.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. Tomorrow is the big day. Then the vote's scheduled for Friday. So even if she doesn't show up, I think the vote will go forward, and Brett Kavanaugh will be confirmed as the next Supreme Court.
I think he'll be confirmed as well. And Senate Republicans had better be looking, because voters are pissed. The majority of Americans know what's going on. They know this is a smear tactic, and there's nothing that can be done by the midterm elections. We want to hold the Republicans accountable that actually cave on this, but there's nothing you can do right now. The primaries are over, but 2020 is coming. So if these Republicans want to fall for this, they can pay a heavy price coming 2020. Because I look at it this way: why the hell do we need I consider a Republican that will fall for this just as bad as a damn Democrat.
Absolutely. So, aside from that, we've still got the midterms coming up, and it is important that we elect Republicans, especially here in North Carolina. We're working hard in District 9 to get Mark Harris elected, and part of what we do here in North Carolina, and anyone who's followed this podcast, is the roadside rallies, where we not only build up enthusiasm and support amongst resident voters and people who live in the community, but also get other people involved in the political process. And it's a great way to get people who are new to politics to get their feet wet, and from there they can branch off and participate in other ways. Last weekend, we had a roadside rally here in Indian Trail, which is just outside of Charlotte. And we had a little bit of a hiccup. It wasn't the end of the world, but Brian, why don't you kind of explain what happened last weekend in Indian Trail at our roadside rally?
Well, we were down in Indian Trail. It turned out we had a good crowd show up. We're all standing out there having a good time, showing our support for our country and president. Had a couple of snowflakes, overwhelming, in my opinion, overwhelming majority of people were positive. And we had a snowflake that had a problem with us, calling Donald Trump a racist. She was actually, the woman who had the issue was a black woman. And the people that she called out in our rally were all the minorities. She was calling out me for being a gay Trump supporter. She called out Josh for being Hispanic, supporting Trump. She got triggered and she called the Union County Sheriff's Department on us. Well, Union County Sheriff came out, 3 deputies came out and told us that it was a city ordinance that you had to have a permit to assemble. And we, listened to them. They said we had to leave. They told us it was an arrestable offense, which I've never heard of that. But we listened to them and we left. We went to a different location in the city right next to Indian Trail in Stallings. And but a couple of the people that were with us at the roadside rally were friends with the mayor of Indian Trail, and they called the mayor. The mayor was apparently really hot about this and said that there is absolutely no city ordinance in the town of Indian Trail that requires any American to obtain a permit to exercise their American rights. So he got pretty pissed about that. He's called the sheriff of Union County and informed him to inform the deputies in Indian Trail not to that there was no ordinance like that within inside the city. So, but instead, even though we knew we were in the right, we went to Stallings, continued our rally over there. It turned out to be a good location over there as well. Had a good time. But
had a couple of scary moments for you when
it was like
Stallings.
every time I turned around, it was like the Indian Trail rally. I was like, I saw the cops pulling up, and I was like, okay, let me just let me lay my flag down, let me lay my sign down because they're coming for me. So I just, what you gonna do? Just going up to them. So I went up to them, and I was like, I think you're here for me, and they talk to us and everything. And then we get over to the Stallings location after we move, and we see the guy. I'm across the street, and I see you over there talking to some guy, and we saw some flashing lights on the thing. And Dana had told me, she said, I think he's a cop. And I look over there, and I was like, not again. And the next thing I know, here comes the guy running across the street, pair of shorts,
wearing a badge around his neck,
top with a badge hanging off a chain, and and I was like, that's Vice. I was like, and then he's like, are you Brian? And I was like, oh my God, yes. I mean, how many times can you have a cop come up asking for you and you don't go to jail? And that was like two.
It's because you're always of everyone who is involved in our group. So far, you've been to jail once from one of our rallies. You've also had the sheriff show up on your front doorstep at 10 o'clock at night. Again, because of the political stuff. And, of course, people can go back and listen to previous episodes to hear those stories if they don't already know about the charges that you're facing.
Yeah, you gotta, things like this. Someone who's not committed would have already turned around and walked away from all this. We're out here fighting to try to make our country better. We're doing our little thing. We're a small group doing our thing in our little corner of North Carolina. And, I know that it's happening all over the United States. People doing the exact same thing. But, the average person, if you weren't as crazy as me, the average sane person would have walked away from all this a while ago. But
You're not exactly sane.
I'm not exactly sane, so I'm not walking away. When they try to pull these tactics on me, that lights a fire inside me that I'm going to continue doing this. When I've always been that type of person. When I was told I couldn't do something, I was either going to show you that I was and take my, back when I was a kid, it was the butt whooping coming. But I took my butt whooping, but I did what I was going to do. And that's how I've grown into to an adult. That's the type of adult that I've grown into. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I obey the law. It's like you can't help what people say or do, and you got to stay with this. You've got to have some commitment and a desire to finish it, and that's where I'm at.
Now, did you end up getting arrested or going to jail after this guy ran across the street wearing the badge, looking for you, asking for you?
No, actually, he turned out to be well, I'm not really sure what he was, but
he was a repo man.
Repo man. But he was like, this dude was so enthusiastic about, he was an Hispanic guy, and he was so enthusiastic about Trump. And he was like, you could see it. I mean, you witnessed it. You could see his enthusiasm. And he's already emailed Deplorable Pride, sent us an email wanting to get involved in everything. And he's bought a flag from us, and I think he was just type of person that he was like the other people we always see. They're not used to seeing people out in public being proud of our president, and when they see that, they just get so excited. I understand. I recognize that excitement. And it's contagious, and that's what I take away with him. Yeah, he did give me a little scared there for a minute. I was like, okay, the sheriff didn't get us at the last location, so they sent Vice in. You run into that many police, so you just assume you're going to be in handcuffs. But it all turned out to be a great rally. We had a few haters, and normally, like that one carload of haters that we had come by saying F Trump and all this, and then they go down.
That's all they have.
That's all they had. And, I turned around and said, no, I'm sorry. Trump doesn't fuck ugly bitches. That's going to be my new comeback every time someone says F Trump, those are the people. They drove down the street, turned around, came back so they could do it again. And then they drive down the other way and turn around and come back so they could do it again. So you deal with the same carload of losers, Actually, it turned out this carload of losers happened to be black. But then when you give them facts, I was like, they'll holler, Trump's a racist. But you say, hey, under Donald Trump, black unemployment is at the lowest level in U.S. history. Under Obama, black unemployment for black males 18 to 38 was 41%. And they're silent. There's nothing. The first thing back out of their mouth again, he's a racist.
That's all they have. They don't have facts. They don't have any. There's no real reason for their hatred other than the fact that they've been indoctrinated and brainwashed and told that they have to hate Trump because Trump's bad. That's it. No reason, no evidence, no proof.
If you ask him why you hate him, why do you hate Trump? He's a racist. Okay. Well, he wasn't a racist until he decided to run for president, because before then you had Jesse Jackson gave him an award, a Jesse Jackson award for his work in the Black African American community.
Yeah. There's pictures and they go back decades of Trump with with blacks and minorities and stuff. It is funny.
Just like the homeless woman who went into Trump Tower and squatted in one of the apartments in there. Well, instead of legally getting her out of there, do you know what She's been living in Trump Tower for 3 years now. Trump has let her live there free, rent free for 3 years now. How much is that? How much is that worth? But instead of Trump throwing her out, which he legally had a right to do, he allowed her to stay in this expensive apartment for free, rent free.
Is that story true? I think I've heard.
That is a true story. I read the story about the lady, and she 100% stands by Trump, and thinks. She's come out and praised him. Of course, when a black person or a gay person or any minority that will praise Trump, you're automatically it's the Uncle Tom and your sellout and all this other stuff. And that's one of the reasons why I wonder. It's probably so many minorities don't have the courage to come out and support Trump because they alienate themselves from everyone they've ever known. Just like with me, when I came out with my support for Trump, these are the same people that knew I was a Republican for years because I'd been a Republican for almost a decade before Trump, and the gay community knew I was a Republican. They didn't like it, but they never. I didn't experience anything like I experienced once I said I support Trump. Then it was just all of a sudden I was like some different person that these people that I've known for 30 years. All of a sudden I was some different person. I was like some alien. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that if Trump was really a racist, he'd be the worst racist.
Yeah, exactly.
Of all racists.
I don't know many racists that would make it a mission to get black unemployment to the lowest, or Hispanic or women, black unemployment or whatever to the lowest levels in U.S. history.
Yeah.
But
back to what we were talking about.
But his support I will say his support among blacks, when he won the election in 2016, he won that with 8% of the black vote. In less than 2 years, he now has 36% support among the black Americans.
I was going to say that going back to the talking about the roadside rallies, specifically last week in Indian Trail, one of the things, and with these roadside rallies, what it allows you to do is you get to see the reaction from thousands of people in a matter of a couple of hours when they see Trump. So it gave us a more accurate reading of Trump's support back in 2016 before the election. That's why we knew that even though the polls looked depressing, that we knew the reality was nowhere near what the polls said, just because of what we actually saw with our own two eyes. But what I've noticed, especially last weekend in Indian Trail, was that, yeah, you get those cars full of people who happen to be this or that, and they're just full of hate and venom and F Trump and all that stuff. But I also noticed a lot of cars with African Americans in them, behind the wheel, whatever, giving thumbs up and smiling and waving and honking their horns and
their
stuff.
Their lives have improved under Donald Trump.
Exactly.
More people have come out of poverty. More people have come off food stamps. Obama was the food stamp president. More people went on food stamps under his during his time in office than it was the largest increase of food stamp recipients in U.S. history. And then you get Trump coming along, and you get more people off food stamps than ever before in U.S. history. I mean, it's like night and day. And people notice that. People, human beings, our desire is to better ourselves. We want to work. We want to be appreciated. And Trump did that. And the black community is seeing that. They're seeing that they're not handing them, they're not giving them something to get them by. They're actually giving them something to help them succeed and raise their families out of poverty.
Yeah.
And you're seeing them walk away from the Democrat Party. Yes, it's like LBJ said. If you give the blacks welfare, you'll secure that vote for the next 200 years. I honestly do not know of a truer statement ever uttered, but he was right. LBJ was right. And once you start giving someone, when you start giving someone welfare, you in turn get their vote. And you do have people out there that want to stay on the system. I mean, hell, it's free money. You do have people like that, but then you've got generations of it. And then sooner or later, you're going to get someone in that generation. They're going to say, look, I want something better for my family. I want something better out of this life than getting a check once a month for my vote.
Yep.
It gives people dignity. You're going to get their. Trump is doing one that Democrats took the dignity away from minorities. And Trump is turning around, giving the dignity back to people, letting people be back in control of their own lives.
Yeah. And it's exciting to see the process unfold. It's frustrating at times, certainly.
But
I think that,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that it's exciting to see in real time through these roadside rallies where we can kind of get a reading of what the actual level of support is. And this is only in our area. It's, wherever it is we are in North Carolina at any given particular weekend. But it's cool to see it, unfold and to run into people. We had a meeting yesterday with a couple of our, closer supporters, the more involved people in our group. And
that turned out really good as after our meeting.
And that was the funny thing, is that basically it was just three of us left after the meeting, kind of just talking in the parking lot. Jay had on his MAGA hat, and you, of course, have your truck that, let's just say, is not very subtle as to who you are or who you support. And we had two cars pull up to us in the parking lot, and we weren't sure, because we were going back to our cars, and Jay was walking back to his, and he stopped and started talking on this car. And eventually we walked over. I brought a business card so they could get in touch with us, because it was obvious they were curious and they were supporters. But while you guys were talking to the gentleman on the driver's side, I was talking with the woman on the passengers in the passenger seat, and getting her Facebook info so we could add her to our group. And she mentioned that this was the first time she had seen people outwardly supporting President Trump, and that she was so excited to see that.
And that's a common theme that we hear every
single week.
Every time we do if we're in a restaurant with other MAGA supporters, you'll see people looking at us in the restaurant. And now I know why some of them are looking at us. They can't believe that people are actually out in public and being open about supporting our president. And that proves right there that we are giving people the courage to come out of that shell that they're in and say, hey, it is all right to support your president. It's all right to vote for Donald Trump. And because, that's one thing we've heard every single time. I've never seen other Trump supporters. And I'm like, that, to me, I guess it's because I'm very open about supporting the president and everything. But that shocks me that people would say that I can't believe there are people that sit in a restaurant and discuss the president.
Yeah, in a positive way.
In a positive way, like when we the day that we had when Trump came to Charlotte, and we had the roadside rally on Carmel, and we had the black lady that stopped by, and she was just floored that she could not believe that there was a group of Trump supporters standing openly out on the side of the road. It floored her. She was in total shock. I mean, she was like, even though she was in total shock, she was like very happy, so happy that she left the rally, went to go pick her daughter up, and brought her daughter back.
Yeah.
And, you could tell that woman was yearning to be around other people like her.
Yeah, to be able to talk about things that she couldn't talk about with other people. And on that note, it was funny. The other vehicle that pulled up when we were leaving, and we were talking with that one couple, and then Jay went over and talked with this other guy. And when you called me back later that night, and you said that guy came out to Jay,
yeah,
I thought you meant that he came out as a Trump supporter, because that's usually like the context in which, when we're talking about these people, they'll come out as Trump supporters. They'll be like, kind of like looking around, just make sure no one else is looking. And
he was coming out in a different
by the way, I voted for him in 2016, and it's like they're excited to like share the fact that like, yeah, they're Trump supporters too. And no one in their family supports Trump, and they have to keep it really, really quiet, and they can't tell their friends, and they can't talk about it, but they support him. And I thought that's what you meant when you said he came out to Jay. I didn't realize that apparently he saw your truck or something and felt the need to share
he was
a bit about his personal life.
Well, this guy that came out to Jay, he wasn't. He's in no way a Trump supporter. He's from what I understood, he was a Democrat. He's still a Democrat. We invited him to the roadside rally, mainly to show him exactly what type of people support President Trump, and get him out to the roadside rally so he can see, get a different perspective from what the liberal media has told him about who Trump supporters are. Invited him to the roadside rally so he can come out there and see that we're gay, straight, black, white, Asian, Indian, female, male, so you can see the difference, the diversity in Trump supporters. And he said he would come to the roadside rally, but he would definitely not be holding a Trump sign. But I look at it, a Trump flag or a Trump sign.
Baby steps.
Wait, exactly. That's the way I look at it is that we got it. Hey, we got a Democrat willing to come to a Trump MAGA roadside rally. Okay,
he was going to have a conversation with Jay, and from the bit I overheard, it sounded like he was pretty much in the middle. He
doesn't have to come out there and support Trump, but actually what's going to get him to support Trump in 2020, and we got plenty of time to get him, is that he's going to come. And he's going to come to the roadside rally, and he's going to meet people like Dana and Carrie and me and you and Josh, and he's going to see the wide diversity in our group, and he's going to
see reality.
He's going to say, "Hey, this is not the people that PMSNBC told me they Trump supporters were," and that the next step is we're going to have him holding up a sign. And then the next day he's going to be holding a Trump flag, and he's going to see that Trump is actually the best thing for this country. And, like you said, baby steps. And hopefully I'd say out of the three people when we were leaving Panera today, out of the three people we talked to, I feel totally confident that the two that you and I were talking to will be at the roadside rally in Indian Trail. And after talking with Jay, I really think this guy he was talking to is possibly going to show up at the roadside rally. So
that's the sort of people that we need to be focused on. Yeah. A lot of times when we're talking about winning support for Trump, growing the base, it's not about getting the left-wing loonies who think that they're convinced that Donald Trump is Hitler reincarnated and all that stuff. We're not going to win those people over. We need to focus in order to win. We need to be focused on maybe 4 to 6% of the people who are right in the middle. They kind of lean a little bit to the left. They're just not quite on the Trump train yet, but they're very, very close. Those are the people that we can win. We can win them by having these interactions that are positive, by showing them the reality of who Trump supporters are and what we believe in, why we support Trump. And those are the people that we can win, and we will win.
But those people who are kind of like kind of on the fence, those are also the kind of people that are not going to openly discuss any of it. But
not necessarily. You saw this guy here. He was willing to roll his window down and talk with someone who was wearing a MAGA hat. I mean, they were talking about actual policies and actual issues. They weren't talking about whether or not Trump should tweet or what about this or that. It was the actual issues.
If we can get these people who are on the fence, if we can get them I mean, because if you're driving down the road, say you weren't a Trump supporter and you were not into the politics or anything, you're just average citizen driving down the road, and you looked at our roadside rallies, would you not feel comfortable with the way that we do things, that you would pull over and stop and want to talk to us?
Yeah.
And I think that's what our roadside rallies are actually being noticed across the state.
Beyond just the state. I mean, we're getting literally thousands and thousands of views on the videos that we do from these roadside rallies.
Yeah,
it's fascinating.
It's like with Michelle Nix, and she's the vice chair of the North. She was a past guest. She told us, she said, y'all are really doing something good. You are energizing the voters out here. Not only are we energizing Trump supporters to say, hey, yeah, we support Trump and MAGA, baby, but we're also doing what we actually set out for, and to energize the people to get out and vote. I've always said it doesn't matter how you vote. We're all Americans. Get out there and vote for who you think is the best for this country. But the point is that getting people to the polls, getting people to vote, getting people to exercise their American right that men and women died to give them. And that is something positive that we're doing as well. People are noticing that. People are noticing, hey, these people are excited. I've never heard of a roadside rally until I met you. I mean, I'd seen, like, when there's something coming down the road, but it was like a special event that people in cities would get on overpasses and hold up signs or flags. That was a once in a cycle event. These are things that people are seeing that we're doing. People are seeing this every week.
The roadside rallies in Carolinas for Trump, it started with the roadside rallies, and that's been the primary core,
But
focus
other than Carolinas for Trump or Deplorable Pride, I mean, I know you Carolinas for Trump started the roadside rallies, but Deplorable Pride is like, come on with that, with y'all and everything. But other than us, I mean, this is something I've never heard of.
That's what I was going to say, was that this all started. Michelle Russo, the co-founder of Carolinas for Trump, she was driving in, I think it was Concord, North Carolina. This was probably at some point in 2015, late 2015, early 2016. And she saw just one guy standing on the side of the road holding like a Trump flag or a Trump yard sign or something, waving at cars. And that's what gave her the idea. 'Cause we wanted to get involved, and we were both brand new to politics. We passionate Trump supporters, and we were frustrated with the GOP for a multitude of reasons, and we wanted to do something on our own. And she looked back at that event and said, that made her feel so excited and so happy, and it just completely made her day. And I mean, it was a memory that was so vivid for her, seeing this guy standing on the side of the road supporting Trump. And that's what made her say, why don't we just, get some Trump signs, Trump flags or whatever, and we'll just wave at cars. And where I grew up in a little town in Massachusetts, north of Boston.
Massachusetts.
Yes. When the local elections were being held, all of the local politicians and their supporters would gather in the center of town. It was a 4-way roundabout, intersection, whatever. And it would just be everyone holding their, campaign signs on, wooden stakes and waving at cars. And it'd be in the middle of the winter and, whenever. So they'd be waving at cars, just standing there. And it wasn't really like it was just one campaign that was doing it. It was everyone. You would go and you would see every single campaign sign. And of course, there'd be more of this candidate or that candidate or whatever. But I remember like riding on the school bus and going to school, and I had no interest in politics, but that was always something that every single election, that's what you would see. So in a way, that was another inspiration for this. You don't see that down here in North Carolina, except for what we're doing.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, I guess this is as good a time as any because we are coming towards the end of our broadcast for this week. This Saturday, which is the 29th, we are going to be holding a roadside rally in your neck of the woods, Brian. We're going to be in Albemarle, North Carolina. You want to talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, I can finally be in my hometown on the side of the road on display.
Is this the first time you'll be on the side of the road on display in your hometown? I'm joking.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I had to try to go through my memory bank. I'm sure I have been. But the story came out about deplorable pride, and I actually made the front page of the paper. That was the big total. You were in the picture. It said gay Trump's. I think it was like Republican proud was the headline, and that was something that was really special to me. That I was being recognized for something that I was very passionate about in my hometown, and I guess that's why I bought 50 newspapers. But
did you really?
Yeah, because there's a lot of people that wanted copies of them, and you got to get them when they're out, and so I just bought up a bunch of them. I don't have any. I probably have about 10 left.
You can autograph those and send those out as prizes to people.
I wish that damn autograph would be worth something, but it ain't. But it's something special to me. Growing up in Albemarle, small town, I made the front page for my support of my president, and that's what makes me so proud to be an American, because tears almost came to my eyes when I was like, seeing I made my hometown paper supporting my president. I love that. It gives me pride in my country. And but this is going to be our first roadside rally that I'm going to be able to stand here with other Stanley County people, and they're going to have an opportunity. We're going to stand out here and show our support for President Trump in Albemarle. And he overwhelmingly won Stanley County and Albemarle. That's another thing about roadside rallies. The roadside rallies are not only to get support for the Republicans and for Donald Trump, but it's to get us away from the constant insanity of the Democrats day after day after day, that we can actually stand out there with other. This is more about fellowship, that we can stand on the street, be who we are, be proud of who we are, and do it with other people that feel just like us. And that's
Michelle Russo said it best: tune out the noise, turn up the Trump.
Well, see, I understand that is a perfect saying, but I like the noise because, hell, the last video you saw me running toward it. Yes.
For anyone that wants to see that, if you go on Facebook, search for Carolinas for Trump or deplorablepride.org, or you can actually go on my personal page if we're friends. If not, send me a friend request, Chris O'Shea, and look at the video from last weekend, which would have been the 21st.
Yeah,
I think 21st or 22nd.
The original Indian Trail Rally.
The Indian Trail Rally. It's about a 21 minute video.
Yeah.
If you go to, I think it's 18 minutes in.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure it was that far in, but
I'm pretty sure, because I went back to find that spot because it is hysterically funny.
The story behind that is I like to go from one end to the other and hold my sign at different sections, and I happened to be on the far end away from the actual intersection, so I went to the very other end, and I was standing there, and this lady came by in a white convertible. She holds up the middle finger and screams and calls us all racist as she flies by. And she thought she was going to make the light, and that's the reason she was being all big and bad. And the car in front of her saw a cop sitting at the same stoplight, because if you remember, there was a cop that it went through. He hit his brakes, so he went and go through a yellow light, and she got caught right behind him. And I was like, oh my God. This is just like Christmas. So I take off running. I was talking to a friend of mine on the phone. I said, I hit my Bluetooth and said, I got to call you back. And I ran straight up there. I was like,
I got a fish to catch, or something like that.
Yeah, you said, what's going on? I said, I caught a fish. That sign that I was holding, same one, ironically, same one that I held that you made me when Donald Trump came into town. So the president saw the sign that she saw. Donald Trump liked it, and it triggered this lady. But I ran up there, and she was like, what was the first thing out of her mouth? He's a racist. You point out the lowest unemployment for blacks in U.S. history. And she was just like screaming. She did not hear a word we were saying. And it was, I don't know, it's like therapy to me. The more we talked, the crazier she got. And the crazier she got, the happier I became. And I guess I'm just as sick as she is.
You delight in other people's insanity.
I just like watching. I guess I like seeing someone out there that is crazier than me.
That's probably true.
I don't know what it is, but I just could not believe it. You saw the anger. I mean, you can go to the video and watch it on online, and you saw the anger.
There's hatred.
There's a lot of this video that you could not tell what the woman was saying. Because it was being filmed from our side, but just her actions, the way she was pointing, and I mean, she literally was having a freaking meltdown in her car, and that's why she reached in her wallet and pulled out. I think you said it was a military ID or something.
That's kind of what it looked like. I suspect that she was trying to say that because she was a veteran or something.
She said she was a veteran? Because I'm going to be honest with you.
I don't know what she said, but I mean, she pulled something out of her wallet. It looked like it had a greenish tint on. I think that's what military IDs look like.
You know what? It just hit me. I called her. I was like hollering at her, telling her she was un-American. I wonder if she brought it out. I'm an American. Because that.
Well, who knows? Either way, I mean, pulling something out of your wallet doesn't suddenly change.
The way her whole damn car was shaking when she was sitting there pointing at us, and her whole car was shaking.
Yeah.
But we had people. Y'all can see in the video the SUV that was in the turning lane on the opposite side of her. The entire time this woman is pointing.
Oh, it was great.
She was pointing at us in all this anger. We've got the SUV right beside her. Like every time she was pointing, this woman was out the passenger side window, giving us thumbs up. And I mean, the horn, when we were going at it with this woman, the horns were just going off all over the place. You would think like a 1,000 car alarms had went off at one time. It was amazing. I didn't notice that until I watched it a couple of times. It was like, I was like, oh my God, this is cool. But this woman had a meltdown. And, like I said, I use that for therapy, just like the lady in the
You're a sick man.
Well, but you need to learn these people. You need to understand the different levels of the snowflakes. I don't know I don't know it yet because I haven't constructed them yet. But look at that woman that sat in the convertible. That was one level of the snowflake. But then look at the lady that was actually right behind us. That was
parking lot.
At the Chick-fil-A. Now that was the type of snowflake that she knew what she was doing. She wanted to catch us. She wanted to trip us up. That's the one that wanted to make fools out of us. This woman in the car sitting on the road, she was legitimately having a meltdown. This one over here really didn't give a damn which way it went. She just wanted to make sure that we were exposed for some type of reason. Did you notice that?
Yeah, she had her cell phone out. She was probably getting video.
But she's the one that
horizontal video, not even. The vertical video, not horizontal.
She was the one that I think called the police on us. And if you also notice, because this lady, when she backed out after stopped filming, if she backed out and went around the building, I assumed that she had left. But if you notice that when the police arrived right after this lady left, you can see it on video. her and her friends were standing almost still in the exact same parking spot, and all three of them had cameras out filming us while
I
we were
didn't see
talking
that.
yeah, it's on camera. I don't know who was filming it, but no, actually, okay, she was behind us. You can ask Josh though.
Yeah.
They were behind us filming us while the cops was there, so she called the police so that when they got there, she could get it on camera, and apparently called her friends because those people were not with her when she pulled up and went into the Chick-fil-A to begin with.
Well, we'll see what happens this weekend in Albemarle. And then just to tease the following weekend, which is October 6th, should we tell
My
them
birthday.
why it's Brian's birthday?
It's also the day that Aaron Medlin, the leader, former leader of Charlotte Antifa, is throwing his community, what do they call it? Customer appreciation day at his body shop or his mechanic shop.
Which is just a business run out of his home. Poor kid. Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens when you get to face him in court. But the important thing about that day is that we're doing another Indian Trail Rally right where we were last week, in front of the Chick-fil-A on Independence Boulevard near the intersection of Fairview Indian Trail Road. And we have the mayor's blessing. We have every legal right to be there. And we're going to be back there to make a point, to prove a point. And this is an awesome freaking location for a roadside rally.
It was.
So
It was a good
the Charlotte
location.
area, or we had people that drove 2 hours from Winston-Salem, people that came to our rally in Winston-Salem that came out 2-hour drive to participate in this rally. And we're going to be back there on October the 6th. So mark your calendars. This upcoming weekend, the 29th on Saturday, we're going to be in Albemarle, North Carolina. Indian Trail the next weekend on the 6th, and we don't know where we're going to be the weekend after that, but we are going to be going all over the area. We're going to be doing events leading up towards the midterm elections to get people energized, motivated, and excited, and to remind people the importance of voting and why they need to support candidates who support Make America Great Again.
Just remember, if who is listening, if they live in North Carolina or South Carolina and they want us to come to their city, get in touch with us. We're definitely looking to branch out across the Carolinas and do roadside rallies and hopefully get other people in other parts of both states actually starting them there, and making this like who knows, we can make this a nationwide thing.
Well, we got to get it geared up for 2020. By 2020, I want to see roadside rallies, several of them every single weekend. I think that we can do it, and it's going to take people who want to volunteer and step up. It doesn't take very much. We'll do the most of the promotion and stuff. If that's not your thing, we've got the mailing list, we've got the social media. We can help you promote it. If you just need to help get started, we can do that. We can get you a crowd to begin with, so that we can grow a supporter base in your area. And we'll make sure you're set up with the signs and flags and you know how to do these events. So if you're interested, contact deplorablepride@gmail.com. That's the word contact, deplorablepride@gmail.com. Or you can reach me at carolinasfortrump@gmail.com. You can find us both on Facebook, deplorablepride.org, Carolinas for Trump. The website's carolinasfortrump.us, deplorablepride.org. Any last words, Brian? This episode has run a little bit long. I think that it's we're both just so excited about everything that's going on that it's kind of hard to keep it short. But any last words before we sign off for this week?
Oh, we've got to mention one last thing. We finally went and got our last soldier from the May 12th event.
That's right.
We finally today, after the uptown protest of LaWanda Mayfield and the day I got arrested when Antifa showed up, we finally went and got the American flag that was left behind that CMPD has been holding ever since May 12th.
4 months. They normally destroy stuff like that after 30 days.
After 30 days, property is destroyed if no one claims it. And when we went to court the other week, for this actual event, this cop came up to me, Officer Morton actually, and gave me his business card and said, your flag is in my office, and I've been holding it for you. I didn't turn it into property because they would have got rid of it after 30 days, but I've been holding it for you. So we finally went and got it today, and everything that started that day on May 12th has been brought home.
Now all we need to do is get that court case over with, which is coming up in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah,
which will give us plenty of podcast material for future episodes.
November the 7th.
November 7th, so the day after Election Day.
Yeah, it actually is the day after election.
Yep. All right, Brian. I think that this is probably about as much as most people will be able to stomach of both of us.
They probably don't cut us off. But
probably.
I will say free the weed.
Free the weed. Contact the proberpride@gmail.com. Carolinas for Trump @gmail.com. That's how you can reach us. Find us on Facebook. I'm Chris O'Shea, carolinasfortrump.us, and
Brian Talbert with Deplorable Pride.
Saying free the weed. And thank you for tuning in. Share this with a friend. Like, subscribe. It helps us. Go on Spreaker. If you're not hearing this on Spreaker, if you're listening in some other way, go to Spreaker. Favorite us. Subscribe to our podcast. That helps us. And we appreciate all the support. If you want to make a donation, you can actually go to deplorablepride.org. There's a button up at the top. It'll help fund activism in and around the Carolinas and beyond as we grow and expand.
One thing your donation will prove, you will see your money in action. We videotape everything that we do, and you can see your money being spent. So money well donated.
And we'll have more news coming up next week. So tune in next Wednesday for the next episode. Until next time, thanks for tuning in. We love you guys. Thank you for all your support. This is, I think, the 6th episode we've done. And I think we're starting to get our sea legs and kind of figure out the formats and everything. So thank you, everyone, for your support. It means a lot to us. And together we're going to make America great again. We're going to help President Trump.
Make America great again.
Make America great again. Free the weed. Have a good one, guys.